Man, has it been a busy week. Hello guys, my name is Trinidad. Welcome back to my channel. I talk about college tips and vlog over my college experience. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that little notification bell so that way you could be notified when the newest content is released. So I know for some colleges, some places are starting at different times. However, I just finished my first week of college. For the last couple of weeks, I've actually been preparing to do a first week video. However, I ran into a lot of different issues because now that I'm a transfer student and doing full-time classes, I'm seeing a lot of things pop up out of the blue that I didn't have before, especially with this online format. Especially since the first week of classes, there's been a lot of different things that have been going on in the world with the quarantine. I know some places in California are still having the fires right now and a lot of different things are being thrown in the air, but now that things are kind of a little bit better here, I decided to go ahead and talk about my first week of my classes. Now that I've experienced my first week of classes, I've noticed some pros that I really like about the Zoom format, and I've noticed some cons that I really dislike about the Zoom format. And if you haven't had the opportunity, make sure you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm so that way other people could see this video as well. Pro number one, not commuting. Now for me, myself, I don't really have much of a commute, so it doesn't really affect me as much, but I know that there's a lot of other students that have to commute from one place to another, and sometimes that's 5, 10, 20 miles, depending on where you're at. Specifically here in California, some places are a little bit farther and it's pretty expensive, so some people will choose to live a little bit far away just so that way they could save money, but as a consequence, they have to drive a little bit further. So with these Zoom classes, it's been helpful not having to commute, but like I said, it hasn't really been an impact on me, but I've noticed that that's probably been a benefit for really a lot of other students. So pro number two is if I really want to, I could actually roll out of bed to take my classes. I don't actually do that. I'm actually an early bird. Typically, I wake up at 5 in the morning, do my little walk around the block, 2.5 miles to walk my dog. But with that being so convenient, I don't have to necessarily worry about the traffic or anything, so that's kind of in relation with the commuting, but that was one of the pro things that I've also noticed. Pro number three is everything is pretty much due at the end of the week. So a lot of the times, I know that before this, even in Canvas, there's been a lot of professors that used to have a lot of their assignments due at the end of the week. However, now, at least for my classes, I've noticed that all my assignments are particularly due on Friday or Sunday. So that's really convenient for me because it frees up a lot of time that I have to just do my assignments during the week and get them all prepared and ready. Or I could even submit them early. But typically, I'm just kind of getting to the roll of things because it's been a little bit hectic, but I've been submitting everything at least on Friday, so that way I have my weekends free. Pro number four, flexible schedule. This has been very beneficial for me, and for those of you that know or haven't seen my video yet, I'll tag it up here somewhere. But some of the tips that I recommend is, making sure that you have a specific schedule where you could kind of have certain things at certain times. So on my Google Calendar, I'll particularly put like a time that I have my classes, time that I'll be working, time that I'll do my exercises. And this is really beneficial because at the end of the day, I have an idea of like how things are going to go, because if I didn't schedule it, then everything would just be a complete disaster and would be all over the place, and I probably wouldn't get half of the stuff that I wanted to get done unless I scheduled it. So if you haven't had the opportunity, make sure you check out that video. I believe it was called Top 10 Tips for Taking Online Classes, and I'll link that up here or in the description below. Pro number five, professors are a little bit more understanding. Now, I know this could vary from student to student, but for me particularly, I've actually reached out to some of my professors to ask them questions or how are the quizzes going to be and some of the exams, and I feel that a lot of the professors are a little bit more lenient. Now we're going to jump into the cons. One of the things that I learned to not like, and I really don't like it compared to the real deal, is the speaker mode. I know this is a setting that you could set up, but typically really everybody has it. When somebody starts talking, you're like in this dead center of everybody and everybody's paying attention to you. I really find that like awkward, and for me, I just feel like my anxiety peaks a little bit every time that I have to speak up in the class or I have to do something. However, in person, like I totally don't mind doing presentations or being in front of people, but for some reason, like this online format, it's like all the attention's on you because you're that one box that everybody's staring at. Maybe it's just me, but I don't like it. Con number two, chat box. At least in some of my classes that I've had, I know that there's questions about like specific things in the class or whatever, but there's like that one person that's just like having a conversation with another student in front of everybody, and they don't realize that, that everybody else could see it. And in the chat box, a lot of people, when they're typing questions, sometimes a professor will ask one question and then everybody's answering the question at the same time. And so for like the next 30 seconds to a minute, when you're trying to write down notes or whatever, that there's like the chat box popping up and it's like kind of blocking you. So that's kind of like inconvenient, but that's just like one thing that I noticed that was kind of a con. Con number 3, forgetting to mute your audio. So sometimes when you join a Zoom call, a lot of the times they'll have your audio where you're able to mute or unmute it. I've noticed that some students will accidentally unmute themselves and they'll be talking in the background when the professor is trying to talk. And sometimes it's kind of embarrassing for that person, but that was one other thing that I noticed that was a con. And it was funny because what happened was one student in particular was watching a video and didn't realize that he was unmuted, and everybody in class could hear it, and it was like super embarrassing. I won't really talk about what it was, but I think y'all could figure it out. So con number 4 is some professors are still getting used to the online Zoom format. This is not necessarily a bad thing. I just feel kind of bad for some of the professors because although some of them have taken the Zoom class course of learning how to use Zoom, they haven't really learned how to use it to its full extent. So sometimes we're in the middle of class and a professor really doesn't know what to do, like doesn't know how to assign breakout rooms, or they won't know how to bring everybody back. So in one of my classes, my professor is actually still getting used to the Zoom ways. So we have these group meetings, right? And so for these group meetings, it's going to be related to like our final paper, and our professor has to put our group in the same meeting structure, I guess. So for the breakout rooms, it just pretty much throws us all into our different areas with different people. It doesn't necessarily put us with the same people. That was a thing that we were having with at first, but now that it's kind of got situated, we're able to kind of get together and just kind of work on our assignments. And on top of that, actually, some of my classmates recommended this app called Discord. I've actually never heard of it. I guess it's a really, really popular app. I just downloaded it actually last night, and we've been working on our project through that. So if you haven't used that yet, and some of you that are out there that are using Zoom, recommend to use Discord. It's free. You could create group chats and stuff like that. Super awesome. Recommend it. Last con is not having the ability to network with other people. Now, one of the things as a transfer student that I was really looking forward to was going onto campus to network with other students, being able to meet people from different backgrounds, to live different experiences, and kind of like just get in that college mode, right? But now with the Zoom, it's like nobody really even talks to each other. It's like everyone has their cameras off and is just chilling in the background, listening to the professor during our lecture meetings, and just, there's just no connection. So it's kind of a bummer, but the only times that there is an opportunity to network with other people is really just kind of when there's group chats and you go into them and you talk with other people. But other than that, that's pretty much as far as it goes. If you want to become more involved, I actually joined the SHRM organization on campus, which gives me the ability to network with other people. But it's something that you got to kind of push yourself to doing, because if you don't, then you're not going to have the chance to really network with other people, and you're only going to be in class. But other than that, those were some of the pros and cons that I noticed about Zoom. Other than being on an online format, everything is pretty much good. I just can't wait till this whole thing blows over, so that way we could go back to campus and kind of being able to network again. Alright guys, so that brings me to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't had the opportunity yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that little notification bell so that way you could be notified when my newest content is released. Also, if you haven't had the opportunity, make sure you follow my social media pages below. And below, I posted a Scholarly link, which allows you to click on it. You'll be redirected to Scholarly. For those of you that don't know what Scholarly is, it's an application that allows you to search for scholarships. It's a search engine, and it gives you a bunch of scholarship opportunities. So if you're looking to apply for some scholarships and want a discount, click on that link. You'll get a $10 discount, and that way you can use the application to look for other scholarships. Thank you folks for watching, and until next time.